In West Kurna, Iraq, Lukoil are undertaking one of the largest engineering projects on the planet. The rigs are now set up, drilling is underway, but there are problems.
Bring it back! The crane come up! You're crazy!
With vital equipment held up in port,
your inspector is sitting here without any welding tools.
Mounting delays are making the project fall dangerously behind schedule.
You put your attention on this area, but you forgot about others.
And there's a massive security breach at the very heart of the oil field.
В этот момент происходили выстрелы.
Hidden deep below Iraq is one of the world's largest remaining onshore oil fields, West Kurna 2. One Russian oil man has dreamt about developing this field for 20 years.
Я впервые побывал в Ираке, это в 1989 году, когда был заместителем министра. Конечно, я никогда не мог забыть тот масштаб запасов нефти, который находился в Ираке, и материалы, по которым были в компании «Лукойл».
Extracting this oil is the greatest challenge ever faced by oil field workers. They battle extreme weather, searing heat, howling winds, and flash floods. They operate in a region where intimidation, violence, and terrorism are a constant threat. But the greatest challenge of all is time. They have to lay hundreds of kilometers of pipelines, build a processing facility, tank farm and power station, and drill 23 wells, all within a construction window of 14 months.
И это была такая гонка со временем. Это как быстрые шахматы.
In 2009, Lukoil won the tender to develop West Kurna 2, a mega oil field in southern Iraq. The stakes are enormous.
Это один из самых приоритетных наших проектов. Не только по масштабу своему, потому что здесь колоссальные инвестиции. За период контракта будет вложено более 20 миллиардов долларов инвестиций.
After winning the tender, Lukoil developed the engineering plan, negotiated access to the land, cleared the oil field of unexploded bombs, and they brought the first oil rigs onto site. Now the major construction projects can start. By November the 27th, 2013, in just 328 days' time, Lukoil must produce what's called first oil. This means they must be pumping 120,000 barrels of oil per day. To achieve this, they must complete 5 main projects. A central processing facility that will remove impurities from the oil. A gas turbine power plant to provide electricity for the entire project. A 103-kilometer-long export pipeline. A tank farm to hold the oil. Drilling clusters need to be built, 23 oil wells drilled, and infrastructure constructed to pump the oil to the central processing facility. For project management, the most critical problem at the moment is the drilling schedule. The rookie crews have struggled to get up to speed. These delays threaten to derail the whole project. 1,500 kilometers from Iraq in Dubai is Lukoil's high-tech drilling operations center. Here, a specialist team are remotely monitoring day-to-day operations across all of the rigs. Andrei Kuzayev has called an emergency video conference with the drillers to address the mounting delays.
Не попадаем в график. У нас очень существенное отставание от тех дат, когда мы должны обеспечить подготовку 150 тысяч баррелей мощностей по добыче и 400 тысяч баррелей. Сколько у тебя там?
3,84 дня.
Ваша задача выйти на плановые показатели в максимально короткие сроки и обеспечить своевременную подготовку мощностей для планового начала добычи.
The drillers are left in no doubt of what is expected of them. Lukoil bring in 2 experienced rig coaches to get back on track. Between them, Nordine Essahan and Herwart Dietrich have been working on oil rigs for over 50 years. Herwart is put in charge of Cluster 6 and Nordine of Cluster 7. At Nordine's rig, the rookie crew are taking 15 minutes to connect each section of the drill pipe, a job that should be done in 4 minutes.
وثاني ما نضيعوش الوقت. الوقت هو أهم شيء في الدريلينج. لما نضيع وقت يعني معناتها نضيع فلوس. أوكي. حتى تشوفها تحركت شوية بعد تطلعها. ما تدير يدك حتى تشوفها تحركت. ممكن يكون فيها طورك يعاود يرجع هكذا. يدور يقص لك يدك. أيوة زين تمام.
Under Nordine's expert instruction, the team practice what they've learned. After a morning's training, it's time to put them to the test. Nordine is going to time them connecting the next section of the drill pipe to check on their progress.
The grease is ready in his hand, and just put it. Don't lose in time.
A roughneck climbs to the top of the derrick. It's his job to get each new section of the drill pipe stand ready. 100 feet below, the drill pipe is maneuvered into position.
On time, they're doing good. They're following my procedure. They're listening.
With the new section of drill pipe in place, the guys now have to race to attach the power tongs that screw both pieces together. With Nordine in charge, they've made progress, but it's still not quite good enough.
It comes in 5 minutes. This is losing time. You have to do the connection faster to save in money.
The central processing facility is the $1 billion construction that will stand at the heart of the oil field. On this 2.5 kilometer square site, oil will arrive from the drilling clusters to be cleansed of water, sand and salt. But before any construction can begin here, the ground needs to be stabilized with 13,000 concrete piles. Each one of these needs to be driven into the ground, but finding the specialist machines required is a constant struggle.
Equipment in Iraq is quite difficult to source because you're up against other companies around the area, Shell, Petronas, all these companies are reaping the equipment and the resources for that. So we have to expedite it and ensure we get hold of it.
And to make matters worse, the machines they have keep breaking down.
The cushion on this particular rig is broken, and this one here we held for operations for a safety because it's broken.
Scott now only has 4 out of his 5 machines working. This represents a 2-month delay.
The mitigation strategy is that we move piling tech away and bring Alamco in. Hence tonight we've got 1 more machine arriving, and then it'll be slowly staggered machines will arrive. 5 more, I think.
Scott immediately replaces one contractor with another to ensure the work can continue unrelentingly. The West Kurna 2 oil field covers 340 square kilometers and is bisected by 2 major waterways, the Euphrates River and the man-made Third River Canal. The export pipeline needs to cross both. Before work can start, the riverbeds need to be cleared of unexploded bombs, a legacy of the 3 wars that have scarred the region over the past 33 years. Today, they're clearing this section of the river Euphrates. This crucial task is being undertaken by a local crew from the Arabian Gulf Mine Action Company. For these guys, it's more than just a contract. They're making their countries safe for their children and future generations. The team deployed 2 boats, one for the divers and one for a paramedic team. Nawaf Al-Halidi coordinates the divers' mission from the shore.
It's a dangerous job that we have, and under the water there's a lot of problems that we are facing. Even the people that we are working with us, they know the dangers of this issue.
The 2 boats cruise to the area to be searched. To detect ordnance, the guys use this torpedo-shaped sonar device called the fish. The pulse sweeps the riverbed, and when it hits metallic objects, it registers a different frequency on the receiving device. The fish records an anomaly on the riverbed. They close in on the area where the signal is strongest. The divers have the most dangerous job of all. They dive into the murky depths of the river to retrieve the metal object. It could be just a scrap of metal, but it could also be a bomb. Underwater, they search for the object, but visibility is extremely poor.
The main danger is that if they don't identify the right ordnance or the dangers of these ordinances inside, that will be dangerous on them, because maybe he will move them, maybe he will just click on them. That will be dangerous. So he must be good in identifying all these ordinances.
The divers feel their way slowly and carefully along the riverbed. Above, the crew waits anxiously. Suddenly, out of the depths, they see a bomb. Slowly, they bring it to the surface. Then carefully pass it up to the boat. It is an unexploded mortar shell from the first Gulf War.
1 to 3 years in the water. Inside, the explosive metals have been already expired.
This time they're lucky, but in demining, you can never be too careful.
Our job to prevent any risk, even if it is 5% or 1%, because there is another people will be going to work, and they must be satisfied that all this region have been safe.
West Kerner 2 requires an enormous amount of electrical power. Gas and air will be heated inside 3 enormous custom-built gas turbine units to produce the electricity needed. These turbines are being manufactured 3,500 kilometers away. Florence, Italy. This morning marks the culmination of 10 months' hard work. The engineers at GE have manufactured 3 gigantic gas turbine units for Lukoil. Today, they're undergoing their final and most critical tests.
We're going to check the vibration, we're going to check the temperature of this machine, and we're going to prove that what we have designed is working perfectly, and we deliver what we are promised.
If they fail, Lukoil's entire project will be set back by many months. They have dispatched third-party engineers to oversee these final performance tests. Because of the huge pressures involved and the heat generated when the turbines are running, the tests are conducted from a secure control room. The command is given to fire up the turbines. The two vital measurements are speed and vibrations. The turbines need to reach 100% speeds, which is 5,163 revolutions per minute. After 20 minutes, the turbines reach their optimum speed. But they can't relax yet. The turbines need to run for an hour without dropping below top speed or exceeding the vibration limits. An hour later, the turbines are still running at optimum performance, a huge relief for the whole team.
It's quite a nice feeling.
Satisfied that GE have delivered a turbine that will survive the extreme conditions of West Kurna, the engineers sign off for delivery. These giant turbines will now be dispatched to Iraq. At the center of West Kurna 2 is the central processing facility, the beating heart of the oil field. Its scale is enormous. It covers a site of 2.5 kilometers square. That is the size of 350 football pitches. It uses over 600 kilometers of cabling and contains 74 massive vessels in which the oil is cleansed of water, gas and salt and other impurities before being sent for further refinement, storage or export. When it's fully up and running, the CPF will be able to process over 400,000 barrels of oil every day. February the 16th, 2013, Sergei Nikiforov and Dmitry Afanazayev have come to the CPF for an update from Samsung's man in charge, KT Kim, and construction manager, Scott Stone.
So this is the phase 1 on-spec tank.
Tell me about the schedule. Is it on schedule or not on schedule? This
one is a little bit behind schedule, actually, isn't it, KT?
A little bit, how much?
2-3 weeks behind over, especially the second priority tanks.
Our furthest advanced tank for this area is the first off-spec tank, which is the template's been installed, and we're ready to now pour the ring wall.
Only one of the tanks to be built at the CPF is on schedule. Elsewhere on the site, Sergei and the Lukoil team are finding multiple delays.
You put your attention on this area.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. But you forgot about others. You solve one problem, but you got another one. They generally say that there's not that much delay. We're gonna catch up.
Sergei is not convinced.
Tomorrow I kindly ask port note in general.
Yes.
Each exactly location.
Facility by facility.
Yes.
Activity by activity.
Yes.
What is the situation in each site, okay?
Yes.
The CPF must be completed by October in order for Lukoil to reach their target for first oil. The ancient and unique marshlands of southern Iraq fall within West Kurna 2. In 2003, the Iraqi government built a series of dams to allow the reflooding of the marshlands that were drained by Saddam Hussein in the 1990s.
As you see, this is one of the dams that the new government has erected, allow the water to come in to the marshes. And this way, it keeps the water in the marsh at the same level.
Saddam not only destroyed the Marsh Arabs' traditional way of life, He also forced 230,000 of them off the land. Ramadan Ali Hussein comes from this village. He works for Lukoil in community relations. He and other Lukoil employees regularly visit the marsh Arab villages to reassure the people that the oil field will have minimal impact on their ancient way of life.
It's said that this lifestyle is the same lifestyle of Sumerian people, the old Iraqi, the ancient Iraqi people, about 2,000 or 3,000 years before Christ. This is the traditional way to produce local cheese from the water buffalo milk. Every day they sell it in the market, and 1 kilo of this is about $6.
Very tasty.
75,000 marsh Arabs live here, and their entire way of life revolves around the delicate ecosystem of these marshlands.
Water buffalo, it lives in water. In the morning, when they finish serving all their animals, they send the animals to the water. The buffaloes will go to the marsh and eat the grass in the marsh.
The marshes cover 20,000 square kilometers.
This boat, which is full of grass, they can sell it now in the market, $30. All the marsh Arabs, they are happy with this life because they lost it. But now the new government gave them a bigger present by reflooding the water.
On Herwart's rig, the drillers are supposed to drill 8,676 meters by November 2013. They're 8 days behind schedule. They still haven't completed their first well, and now they've run into a major setback.
We have a problem with the top drive. He will not rotate.
The top drive is the huge motor that powers the rig's drill. Its gearbox is broken, meaning work on the rig has had to stop.
We cannot drilling. We cannot turn, no rotated, nothing. We will lay down the top drive for check him.
First, the travelling block will lower the top drive to the rig floor. Then, it'll be laid on its side and steered down the rig ramp by a winch.
Two sling this one, and two long link, we make an extension. Yeah.
Manoeuvring the top drive is a delicate operation.
Okay, slowly up.
Any mistakes at this stage could be fatal.
When it falls down at high, 20 meter, maybe more than 100 tons. When it touches the rig floor, we will kill the people, the equipment will break down.
The slings are safely attached to the top drive.
It's a 15-ton sling. We have here 30 tons. We have also double safe.
But before they can begin bringing it down, Herwart needs to check that the crane can take the weight.
You can see here, this one is a digital weight indicator. It's a very important gauge for, we will see the load, the weight from the load. And when this is not working, we will not use this crane. It's very important.
The drilling at Cluster 6 is now on hold until a new crane can be delivered. With the schedule already 8 days behind, this is yet another huge setback for the team. Across the oil field, work has started on building the pipeline that'll move oil from the central processing facility to the Tuba tank farm, a distance of 103 kilometers. By now, the pipeline team should have completed 4,000 welds, but they've so far only completed 194, making them 56 days behind schedule. Automatic welding machines would increase the welding rate by up to 100 sections a day. But these machines are held up at Qasr port, so the team are having to do everything the old-fashioned way, by hand. Sohab Tariq has come to check on progress.
Good afternoon, guys. Today, what's the number of this joints now?
This is the number of 11.
11.
Yeah.
And we expect average daily production for this crew 20 welds per day. Yeah. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, guys, that's good. Anyway, we are looking for more, basically. Progress is very important. However, we need to maintain a good quality as well.
Yeah.
Sohab has discovered another problem.
Your inspector is sitting here without any welding tools. Okay? He's a welding inspector. He's supposed to check the fit-up of the joint. He's supposed to make sure that the fit-up is per the welding procedure before you commence welding. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm very disappointed, basically, because welding inspector without welding tools, it doesn't make sense, okay? And this will just cause delays to the welding.
Sohab calls a halt to operations.
I would suggest that you do not start welding here till you talk with your QA/QC manager. Let him bring the welding tools, welding inspection tools, before you start welding here.
Not only have they been forced to down tools, every weld completed today must be checked again, further delaying the already strained schedule. Lukoil's most important contractor is 7,000 kilometers away, in South Korea. This is Ulsan, South Korea's industrial heartland. And it's where some of the most important elements for the central processing facility are being made. They're manufacturing the giant vessels which will sit at the heart of the CPF. 8 vast containers which will remove salt, gas and water from the crude oil. Lukoil's chief mechanical engineer, Pavel Denchikov, has arrived in Ulsan to oversee the testing of the vessels.
This sliding side, it should be the right one, yeah?
Each of these huge steel tanks contains over 50 separate welding joints. However, welding weakens the molecular structure of steel. This might lead to the vessels developing a leak, and on any oil field, leaking oil and gas is a threat to life and limb.
We do this pressure test to check that the whole body and all welding joints are okay. No leakage, no any damage, no any faults.
Water is injected into the vessels. The pressure rises. This will test each of the 50 welds. If any of them are faulty, they will rupture. The pressure must remain constant for 20 minutes to pass the test. "15 minutes later, the first vessel is holding steady.
It is almost finished. Now we are going to drop the pressure to 0 and check all welding joints one more time, because from time to time after pressure dropped, it could be some leakage could be found.
As the pressure drops, the team take their final measurements.
The test was done perfect.
This vessel has passed with flying colors. 300 kilometers north of Ulsan is Seoul, South Korea's capital and home to the multinational conglomerate Samsung. Samsung won the contract to design and build the central processing facility. Lukoil have a permanent team of 200 people based in Seoul to ensure the project is delivered to their specifications, on budget and on time. Concerned that the engineering plan for the construction of the pipe racks at the CPF is dangerously unstable, management has called an emergency meeting.
You've actually cut this to the bone, which means when you actually put the dance floor in, and the welding machines in, and the pipe in, and all the personnel standing on that dance floor, you will deflect and deform some of those beams. You need to identify which cross members need to be replaced or strengthened, and they need to know that now.
Mr. Vladimir, we are waiting for
Don't hang around waiting for Vladimir to tell you it needs to be done. I'm telling you it needs to be done. So please get on that. Talk it through, find out what the answer is, and make it happen, please.
Back at West Kerner 2, the crane has arrived to bring down the faulty top drive.
This crane is in good condition. I checked the weight indicator. He's on the right place, and now we can start with the work.
Maneuvering the 25-ton top drive 100 feet to the ground is a delicate and potentially hazardous operation. The inexperienced crew have chosen to lift it using the crane alone, despite Herwarth suggesting a safer and quicker method.
Bring back the top drive, connect the feed door, and sliding down. The load is too much, the crane will go up on the side.
They prepare to move the drive to the ground. But the crane is positioned too close to the rig.
People cannot see the problems. When you do send this procedure by my company, we'll fire it immediately.
Suddenly, disaster strikes. The crane starts to topple.
Hey! Stop! Stop! Down! He come up. Bring it back! The crane come up! You're crazy! Hey! Bring the crane! Bring it back! Immediately! Bring it back! The safety officer has stopped the job. Bring it back immediately.
They stop the job. It should have taken around 1 hour to remove a faulty top drive from this rig. But 5 hours have now gone by, and night is beginning to fall on Cluster 6. The team are now using Herwarth's method, removing the top drive by winching it down a ramp and not by the crane alone. The team begin guiding the 25-ton top drive down the ramp. Eventually, it reaches the ground.
Nearly 7 hours. But nobody followed my procedure from the beginning.
The automatic welding machines have finally made it through Qasr port and have arrived on site. They're capable of welding 4 times as many joints per day as a manual crew. There are now almost 9,000 welds that must be made for the pipeline to be finished by November. Project manager Sohab has come to check on progress.
Looking to the weld finishing, it's very clear that the automatic welding quality is much better than manual. It's looking very clean, good, with a perfect finishing.
With the automatic welding machines finally on site, Sohab is confident the pipeline team can get back on schedule.
That's the difference between manual and automatic welding, that we guarantee the quality with automatic welding, and definitely the rejection and repair rate will be less. So it's both on quality and on progress.
It's early morning on Herwarth's rig. They can't afford to wait 2 weeks to replace the faulty top drive, so the crew are using a secondary drive called the Kelly to turn the drill string. The Kelly is connected to the drill and is turned by the rig's engine, performing the same function as the top drive. And Herwart has a pleasant surprise. The Chinese crew may not know much about the top drive, but they have used a Kelly before.
The Chinese crew are feeling good.
The crew are working at a fast pace. If they keep this up, they might be able to get back on schedule.
See a little bit progress every day. Every day, 1% I'm feeling good. See?
17 kilometers from Herwart's rig, at the center of the oil field, is the pilot camp. It's where Lukoil's permanent staff live and work, and is the most secure site on the entire oil field. But last night, the camp's security was breached in an unprecedented attack. Local guards with a pay grievance tried to storm the security office, which is inside the inner compound of the pilot camp.
Вот один из моментов, когда охранники, находясь на вышках, покинули вышки с оружием.
The men enter the inner compound and head towards the security office. They have their weapons raised, ready to fire.
Вот явно агрессивное поведение, что не надо знать несколько языков, видно.
An announcement was made across the PA that is spread out throughout the camp that every individual stay where you are, get low, adorn yourself with the body armor, lock your door, and stay as low as you can.
В этот момент или в следующий происходили выстрелы.
A gunshot is pretty clear. You know when a gunshot is being shut off.
They started shooting by the office, in front of the office outside.
I saw more of the security guard force rushing past me and cocking their rifles.
Hisham recognizes the men as his friends and colleagues.
I told him, hey, my friend, just calm down, calm down. And he told me, just that's basically, just when he cocked the weapon, he shot one round there and aiming to me.
The situation deteriorates by the minute. General Fedorov takes control.
The first step was my order made by telephone to the chief of security service here in pilot camp in Iraq to blockade them.
The expat guards surround the troublemakers and without firing a single shot, begin to move them towards the main gate.
Вот буквально на этой камере видно, когда экспаты выдавливают.
Confronted by highly trained ex-servicemen, the troublemakers back down. But at the front gate, the armed and disgruntled protesters are joined by their tribesmen. The Iraqi army arrives at noon the next day. Negotiations continue for 3 hours before the siege is finally lifted. It's the day after the lifting of the pilot camp siege. A sandstorm has enveloped the oil field. Andrei Kuzayev and the project management team arrive at the central processing facility, expecting to see welders connecting lengths of pipe.
Where is pipe? This is the pipe?
Yeah.
And here's the pipe. There's 75 pieces. And we have a total 400 pieces. They're waiting until 12th of April.
With much of the piping being held at the port, the welders are unable to work.
Они у тебя, когда у тебя труб придут? Через 2 недели. 2 недели они будут ходить, ничего не делать?
No, they're doing some work.
Какую? Я вижу.
With only 9 months until first oil, the CPF is now 105 days behind schedule. To have any chance of catching up, there needs to be a massive influx of workers.
Needed now planning, needed materials, and needed people. Needed people who can work all day. all day, all night. It's a critical situation.
Lukoil and their subcontractors struggle to increase the workforce and get back on schedule. Then, political unrest threatens to derail the entire project.